Hopefully now people can see us. Here's hoping. Yeah.
We were live, it said, and we talked for a good 5-10 minutes, and apparently we weren't live. So before we talk for 5 or 10 minutes, if you can see us and you can hear us and you're still here, maybe tell us that you can see us and hear us.
Yeah, if you can put a note into the chat. Sounds great. Hey.
Hey, okay. We did 6 practice streams today. Blake had everything set up so well. We were doing really great, and then when it came to the big moment, it all fell apart. So don't know why. But anyway, welcome to our first and possibly only live stream for our channel in honor of our 4-year Ecuador anniversary. So sorry if you have heard all this somehow. We try to commemorate our the year every year we've been here.
Yeah, every year anniversary of us landing here in Ecuador, we've done some kind of celebration. Tried to, anyways.
Yeah, it looks different every year depending on lots of factors. We don't have a tradition, but this year we went out to lunch as a family, and we're doing this, which felt kind of celebratory until the technology went wrong. But it was funny, actually. We broke our own rule too, as far as lunch went, in that we tried to go to the kids' favorite Chinese restaurant in the town of Malacatos. And the WhatsApp and the Facebook said it would be open today, but we always call or message, and we didn't. We just figured, oh, it'll be open, even though it wasn't open. So it was funny.
We drove over there, and everything was shut. The gate was shut with a chain on it.
And Blake messaged them, and they're like, "No, we're not going to be attending to anyone, today." It's like, oh, okay. So we went and got hamburgers at
a local place that we like to go, and it
was great.
Yeah, it was nice. It was great. It was wonderful. And we even had construction work going on right across the street from the restaurant. And angle grinders on
metal.
Tube steel, hollow tube steel. So very noisy lunch, but
it was very Ecuador.
Ecuador. Where we wanted to go wasn't open, so Plan B was great, but very noisy.
But normally, our internet here is really good. I'm not sure what is causing these live stream issues today, because it shows we have great connection. I mean, we have
was good.
Redundant.
Anyways, we'll
internet,
keep going.
Okay. Our funniest story. Please feel welcome to leave questions, especially if you've been waiting for us. We're happy to answer questions from the comments. Yay, affirmation. Thanks, guys. It's working. And we also have a whole list of things to talk about in case no one has questions. So we're not just staring at you. So our funny Ecuador anniversary story was, I think, our 2nd year here. We decided to try to get chicken wings, which is a really big thing here. And it's not something I ever really ate in the United States. I'm not sure why. We just weren't a wing family growing up. And you ate your share of wings, I suppose.
Yeah, I had really good cheap wings close by all the time.
But anyway, so they really like wings here. They're called alitas, like little wings. And they come in really fun flavors. My favorite are the honey mustard, but also they have passion fruit and pineapple, and they're super good. And so we that'll be a really fun celebration with the kids, is getting wings and just taking them home and relaxing. And so Blake went to order what seemed like a reasonable amount of wings, 40 wings for a family of 6, including a bunch of boys who eat a lot. And so,
and the restaurant where we ordered them from, she just started making wings for people, offering wings. And so she had set up a system where it was 2 to 4 wings were what she would give you with a bunch of French fries for your order of wings.
I don't think that had really been formalized either.
Yeah,
it's kind of word of mouth still.
Yeah, she's still kind of in the process. So when I ordered 40, she thought 40 orders of wings, which ended up being 80 wings total.
And a ton of fries, all the fries you would expect for. And so she had to go, she was at her house and had called her sister, bring me all the Tupperwares, in the kitchen. And Blake went to pick them up on the motorcycle. And it's these containers, just several huge containers of wings. And like massive amounts of fries and sauce. And
I had to
so
call a taxi because there's no way I could have ridden home with 80 wings and a
Anyway,
mountain of French fries.
it was a happy
That was a happy
surprise.
accident, an expensive happy accident.
Yeah. So anyway, that was the past. So we thought we would, again, feel free to reach out with questions, but we'll reflect a little bit on like the main themes from the last 4 years and talk a little bit about what the next 4 years we imagine will hold for us, although there are so many surprises, it turns out. But like 4 years is a significant amount of time. We were saying that's a high school education, that's a college education. A lot of growth can go on in 4 years. It has gone on for us, for that matter. But
very true.
When we were talking about it, we were saying the main sort of word that encompasses our reflecting on the 4 years was gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
For one, that we get the chance to be here, because we know that not everyone gets to choose a country to live in. It's a privilege, and we don't take that lightly. We're super grateful because we wanted to do this forever, and to actually be able to do that, and then to see your children, kind of step into that and thrive, like, is such a blessing. And so gratitude for that,
and just how we've found family, found friends here that, like I said, making a move like this, you don't know kind of really what's going to happen.
You don't know how. We'd never been here. We didn't know if we would fit in particularly well, but we do. It's a good place for us. We fit really, really well. And the people are, we always talk about how wonderful, our Ecuadorian neighbors and friends community is. And they're just the best. They have been so welcoming and kind to our family. We are so grateful, and especially in our little town, in our church, but even just, strangers. You walk into a random shop in Loja and you always leave feeling like that was a pleasant interaction. Like, I'm feeling my worldview right now is very positive just from the way people speak to each other is, I don't know. It's nice.
In the government offices, but
they're a little bit more abrupt, perhaps.
Well, that's all government offices,
yes.
Right? It's the same. But no, Brittany's right. We feel incredibly blessed for these last 4 years of being here, and the community we've developed, and we've both expats and Ecuadorians. Our little town that we were so incredibly blessed to end up in, and the people here that we get to walk alongside. And like I said, it's been an amazing 4 years, but also there's been lots of hard things these 4 years.
Yes.
Let's see. Let's start from the beginning of those hard things.
We lost your mom. That was the main hard thing.
That was the first hard thing. My mom did pass away 6 months after we got here, which was very difficult.
And it was during COVID, which really, limited ease of travel and so on. That was, a whole added layer of stress, and not being able to be there. Like, there's just no way around that. And you move to a new country, and you don't think that's going to happen so fast, but obviously that's a thing, and that was a horrible reality.
Yeah. But we were incredibly blessed by our community here in that, and we were still relatively new, right? And so that was tough, but yeah, we were blessed to have, like I said, just right out of the gate, just really close connections with Ecuadorians, with people we came to kind of become family for us, as well as obviously our church, and then a few of our really good and close expat friends here. So that was not an exciting way to start our time here, but God was so good to us through all of that.
Yeah, we felt very loved, even as newbies here. And
there's that. And then we built the house, and things were going quite well. Life was good here.
You lost your job.
And then I got fired. Yeah, got laid off from my job I was doing.
So then we had one really rough year of job hunting, and some humility, and Nacho. Okay.
Our puppies.
There, but again, people were so gracious, and God was so good to us, and
and able to, would make it every single month, no problem. Let's see, we moved from that right into
natural disaster season.
Well, no, I before that was we started school, and then the drug war,
the internal armed conflict in Ecuador.
Conflict, right, where Ecuador spread across the world news.
Yeah,
as was
a
the
hot spot for sure.
as the drug war became a real confrontation here
Which had
in
been
the
growing for
country.
many years. And obviously,
Yeah.
that's a significant question people have is the security situation. And like it has very little, if almost none, as far as impact on like our daily life in our region.
Yeah.
But of course, we don't want to like sugarcoat it and say, oh, everything's great. Like of course there are issues here. There are issues everywhere. We do say that like the crime here compared to Tacoma is logical. Like if you're involved in nefarious activity, if you are like living life parallel to or overlapping like the drug trade in any way, like that's really risky. Like you're gonna potentially have issues. But
to say it that what you see on the news is so sensationalized and so not really the reality of what's going on in 95% of Ecuador, and it's what's happening is terrible and awful,
and it does affect plenty of people.
Yes,
but it doesn't affect us or a lot of people.
It's 5 locations, mostly on the coast, out of all of Ecuador. So it's an extremely small and isolated thing that's happening. Awful thing, but it's not at all like if we didn't have the news, we would never know anything was happening at all. But anyway, so we're here, and all of that breaks across the news, and it is crazy, and everyone's calling and messaging us, and like, are you guys okay?
Like,
you guys need to flee? Like, what's going on?
I guess we're okay.
No, and of course
fine,
we were fine and have been fine, and there are always issues, right? There are always problems in every country. And so Ecuador is unfortunately dealing with a big problem now.
But we're hopeful. I mean, we're also cynical. Just in kind of there's a lot going on in the world everywhere right now that isn't necessarily admirable. But we have a lot of hope for this little country. One of the main things is like the young people we've met have like I don't know the young adults here and the teenagers are like really, really fantastic, like really good heads on their shoulders, really kind, really invested in their families. They really love their communities. We hope that economically the situation in Ecuador improves, that people are able to stay and invest in their country because like there's so much potential, and we see the people who will be leading this country one day. It's like, wow, this is really impressive. That's really exciting.
To Chris's comment, has it stopped? Yes and no, right? There was a time period back, when did that start? When it first hit the news, when things were dramatic, right? That there was 1 or 2 days of dramatic effect because there was arrests and then of a drug lord, and that drug lord then escaped prison, and there was a whole bunch going
retaliation stuff. Yeah, we don't really fully understand it.
And so that was kind of the wake up call, right? And everyone's like, "Oh man, we have to do something."
This has been building since 2021, I think. It was kind of built to a
things have obviously opened up since the borders opened up after COVID. Things changed, but. So the government has taken a lot of actions and a lot of movement in targeting and taking down these drug gangs, these drug cartel things that are going on. And so in a lot of ways, it is getting better, a lot better. And now that the US government has jumped in and is actually doing things to kind of attack, well, you've seen the dramatic stuff happening with Venezuela, things like that. But the posture has changed, and some security things that were taken away with previous administrations here are being put back into place security-wise. And so we are hopeful in those things.
There could be also more pushback, though. Yeah. And again, this hasn't affected our region.
Even today, like as we speak today, the city of Cuenca, which is 5 hours north of us, from 5 hours north from Loja, has been statistically regarded as the safest city in South America.
Yeah,
right.
And so it's like, dangerous country, but really specific. Again, not that things can't happen anywhere, and we're careful. But
it's just like in the United States. You've got an inner city that's dangerous, and there's lots of crime. But 15 miles outside of that, you have nothing. It's very similar to that kind of experience where it's very, very isolated. And as Brittany said, the crime is logical. And so if you're not involving yourself in that in the drug trade of any way.
And then there's other, typical crime like of opportunity.
Sure.
If you're flaunting, look at all my money or whatever.
Just being dumb.
Yeah, there's that too. And so you've got to be mindful, just like you would be anywhere. That's a logical crime, though. I want to say, that's not random. There's not a lot of random crime in Ecuador. We don't look for exits in the grocery stores, things like that. And so like our kids actually, maybe this will surprise people, but they have a lot more freedom of movement here than they did back in, Tacoma, for instance. And so, but then if you're coming from, I don't know, a super safe small town in the Midwest, like that could be different. Maybe it is more extreme here. So.
Yeah.
What was that?
It's harder to read the comments on this.
But
yeah, no, it was a crazy time period then. And thankfully, things are a lot better than they were. They cleared out prisons. They got rid of a lot of stuff. There's still a lot to work to be done.
Yeah, and it is.
To be done, so.
I mean, it's South America. Everyone approaches their government with some cynicism here. What one administration does, the next administration will undo, and vice versa, like for better or for worse. And the U.S. involvement, like we're tend to be like, no, keep to yourself, the US, however, like Ecuadorians are not the users of these drugs, and we're not the producers of these drugs.
Yeah.
It is only, and that's what's kind of frustrating. It's like, who's using them? Who's growing them? Like, this is not an Ecuador specific problem. This is a worldwide problem, and it's fueled by the West and consumption. And so I'm more inclined to be like, yes, this is help with this, because this is not only us.
Well, if you saw the news, I think it was yesterday, anyway, the U.S. government is now actually addressing the problem of Colombia, as Colombia is producing more cocaine than it ever has in its history, even during, the 80s and all the those crazy days. And so
I just saw on the news today that cocaine use has gone up actually. And
and so Ecuador is
again in
unfortunately in the middle, right, where it's being used for its transport routes. It's used for its coastal spots to enable to pull drugs out of the country. So, but we should move on from
anyway, all that is to say, we're very hopeful. We don't expect perfection from this place. It's been very good to us.
And like we said, there's very little that actually concerns us in our personal day-to-day. You would have done differently during your transition? We'll get to that for sure.
Well, do we want to address it now while it's transition? Sure. like when we moved here, well, I think financially we would have set ourselves up differently. We didn't obviously know about the job loss pending and stuff, so we were maybe a little giddy.
Well, there's a lot of hindsight for sure with anything, but
maybe we would have put the kids into school a year earlier. We were here we homeschooled for 2 years, our first 2 years here. And those were really like precious times also. Like our first year was just, was survival. Buying land, it was getting visas, it was like intense. And then we had 2 quick trips to the US in a short amount of time when my mother-in-law passed away. And so that would have been, obviously we didn't even know where we were landing yet as far as the town at that point. But the second year, I mean, we could have put the kids in school. And maybe that in hindsight, maybe we would have done that earlier, but it's not.
There's not a whole lot that I can think besides, just kind of.
We have a video that talks about like the steps we took. I think it was like 15 things we did in preparation for our move. And that really did set us up well. And so if you haven't seen that, check that out, because we did come here like well prepared and well equipped. Mentally, emotionally, physically. So
in the loss of my mom, how can you can't really it's that but I think we did a really good job in terms of preparing and kind of getting ready for this transition. But there's so much you just can't know.
We were talking with the kids today, and back when we told you we were moving to Ecuador, how is it 4 years in? And they're so funny. Apparently none of them actually really knew what that meant at the time. One of our children said he didn't even know that Ecuador was a different country. So we were failing apparently, and so they didn't have a preconceived idea. So they were happy to move without really knowing what to expect apparently. So anything else as far as the reflection component?
Of the last 4 years?
Yeah, just anything else you wanted to touch
Yeah.
on. I
To get a
can't see the
diploma, can they
screen.
come back to the USA for college if they choose to?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So
for
yeah,
sure.
we can also get them GED
They
if needed.
could get a GED.
Mhm.
And we have spoken with Ecuadorians who have gone on to study in the US and have been, more than prepared. Like, education here is, I think, fairly traditional in probably a good way. It's a lot more disciplined. I mean, it's less like creative, and I would say maybe like the fun stuff of school in the US, the fun and cutesy projects and assignments, less like self-reflection and so on.
Gotcha.
It's more, copy what's on the board, memorize this, and that's not fun, but it has prepared people well for, rigorous higher education. Now, the grandparents are all like rooting for the kids to go back to college. That doesn't make sense to us. We're not opposed to it. Like, if one of our children or all of them choose to go back, like, we support them in whatever. However, we're moving forward as if, this is their future, and they're taught that way, but we don't want to, tell them that they're forbidden from going back, of course.
Well, yeah,
So-
and their quality of education here in the university, actually, their university degree will translate into the United States. There's reciprocity for their degree.
Well, maybe not for things like, medical degrees or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know about medical school, but no. But your general bachelor's degree and that sort of thing translates over. And actually, one of the universities that we have here in Loja has a partnership and extension program with Arizona State University,
which is something we'll look into, because if they could get a degree that is like a real degree from both the US and Ecuador, that's ideal.
Mhm.
And frankly, college here is free. So why,
or
the private schools, what was it, $5,000 for the whole 4 years or something like that?
5 to 12, depending on.
No,
what you
I think
do.
it was cheap.
It was cheap.
It was
Maybe
like
1,000
$1,500
year.
a semester or a year or something.
I can't remember.
We're throwing out all kinds of
I
numbers.
know. It's a lot less.
That is actually one of the things, like the first thing on my list about what the next 4 years is going to bring is we have a child who will be graduating high school in that time period, possibly 2 children who will. And so college is like, that is a whole new world. We are now starting our 3rd year of Ecuadorian school. And this is the first year where I'm like, we've got this. Like, it's less, nothing is like jarring. We're not scrambling.
We didn't get voted in as president for
we
the class,
know now. We are wise to how it works here.
Yeah.
You do not want to get voted in as class president, and we did not. We were so proud of ourselves. That was our goal going into the class meetings. You're
very cool.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Diplomas, yes,
She
yes,
moved
college,
on.
yes. So like our oldest, who's very career driven, already thinking about her future, has it all planned out. Like right now, I think she likes the idea of college in the United States because she's seen movies and shows in the dorms and how fun. And she's heard, my experience living, a traditional dorm at a private school in the States, and those are, amazing special times. And so we've talked about that. We've also talked about the cost, though. Like, do you want, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of debt when you can go to school for free here or for very cheap in another Latin American country? Now, it depends on what they want to do, of course. Like, maybe they have to go to school somewhere else, like back in the States,
But we also have a couple of children who probably wouldn't benefit from going to college.
Yeah, maybe they'll do a trade. And
a different
one child's really interested in being a chef. It's like, well, then, you don't have to go to the US to become a chef. And so when we need to learn more about that process. We need to learn more about the admissions process, the different options for Ecuadorian universities. We are permanent residents here. So, the kids can just go to college here. They have to test into it. It's rigorous, it's competitive, but we do feel like they're being well prepared in their current schooling environment for that. And we're excited for their futures. So our daughter's talking about, there's one of the private universities in Loja that's really highly regarded. She loves the idea of getting a little apartment with some friends, and going to school there. She's talking about going to study abroad for a semester, in Brazil or maybe in Portugal. And she's, maybe she'll get her master's in Argentina. She's got all these plans, but her plans are Latin America focused. And we're not, as a family, we've said, this is what we want, but the kids know that, we're not trying to like pigeonhole them into staying. We want the best for them. We want whatever, plans God has for them, wherever that is in the world. And so, but anyway, that's like, we don't plan on them going back to college in the United States. It could happen, but Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm rambly.
No,
Live
okay.
stream, you can't edit. So
No, and again, like I said, the situation's different today than it was even when we were in college. Because we know expats here who have been here 50 years,
and their kids went back,
and their kids went back to school,
and some came back here, and
most of them don't live in Ecuador anymore.
well,
Only
there's
two of
sorry,
them do.
yeah, half of them do.
Half of them do. Yeah.
So
The other one, well, one's in Belgium, and then one's in the United States.
So that's one of the downsides, right, of raising kids who are, experience the world is they see the world and it's at their doorstep in their minds, and they want to go off and do the things.
University in Quito.
That's one our daughters mentioned as well. And of course, we want them to get to go do
that's one
things,
of the misconceptions we've discovered in being here, right? Is that everyone can just kind of thinks about Ecuador as just like a third world country,
a little backwards, little primitive.
And, I mean, Ecuador has the spectrum, right? You've got the poorest of the poor, and then you've got uber wealthy, right? And so in that mix, you've got a huge middle class, and you actually have a fairly robust education system. And like the person commenting,
highly educated population
educated population, and a fantastic university.
UTPL, that's it, in Loja.
UTPL in Loja is the one that we're looking at. And so it's actually, they have, I mean, the same more or less level of expertise and ability to gain skills in these universities here, and without a lot of the kind of baggage that you have in the United States now with colleges, right? And the kind of just environment that's there. So here it's definitely not what most people expect, and so that was been kind of a nice thing to see. And in the school vein, we've kind of got a funny situation this year. Our little town school has been shrinking the amount of kids that are enrolled each year since we've started. And this year, how many are we at?
113, I think, something, 115.
And that's kindergarten through high school.
Which is students. Not typical. Like, that's a very rural school. Most schools are way bigger than that, of course.
Yeah, and you have the same problems in regular size schools where you've got 30 plus kids in a classroom, and the same kind of problems. But our kids all have 8 students per class. Which is amazing.
Right? We think that's fantastic. We're thrilled. They're getting so much attention from the teachers and the instructors at school. It's like going to a private school, right, in our little village. So, is that a question about pets that I see?
Yeah.
We brought our cat, Ivan, from the United States.
And
we have a bunch more animals now that are all Ecuadorian. They're bilingual.
Animals. But no, we brought Ivan, the cat, and we've got a video. Part of our video on the 15 things we did.
How we moved Ivan.
We'll
do an Ivan specific video, but he was only a year old, and we're very fond of him, and it was not that hard to bring him. So
we had to do some USDA paperwork, some vaccinations, and then some paperwork for Ecuador.
They didn't care about it all.
When we got here, they didn't care at all.
Like, okay.
I think they just kind of figured if you got this far, then everything's in order.
And he's living a really good life. Like, I'm glad we brought him. Honestly, like, he doesn't care about us any more than he cares about anyone else. And we really thought about trying to find him a new home. Like, he likes us well enough, but he'll like anybody. Like, he's a cat.
He's a cat.
But he's really happy here. So.
But it for us, in our experience then, it wasn't very difficult to bring in a cat specifically.
No.
Now,
a larger animal, people do it all the time. It is more complicated.
Dogs are a little hard. But I know that they definitely bring dogs in. I mean,
people do.
Yeah, there's some famous YouTubers named JP and Amelia.
They came with
their dogs, and
you can make it work if it's important to you. We did actually. We had a very elderly dog, a wonderful boy, who ended up living with my sister because he wouldn't have survived the move. We were certain he
was an English Mastiff at the end of his
days. I think he passed away about 6 months later as well. And so, which is fine. He spent a lot of time at their home they have a farm and another dog. He was very happy. So we grieved that he was very happy though. And it would have not been a good move for him, but the cat was fine.
That question about finding rentals that accept pets. I mean, in the city, everyone has pets.
Everyone has pets.
Everyone has pets, so that's pretty easy. And then out in the country, I mean,
everyone has animals.
Everyone has animals too. So it's actually fairly easy. I mean, I'm sure you'll come across some people who won't rent to you with a pet.
Not many.
Not often, and maybe there's a deposit for it. But again,
yeah.
rent is pretty inexpensive and
compared to most places in the United States.
And so I think your options, depending where you go, depending what city you choose and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fairly common. It's kind of funny. You've got the purse dogs in the city
And then the compo dogs.
and the compo dogs out here in the country who run wild all day long.
And they're not, you will get a lot of expats, especially when they first move here, who are so concerned about all the street dogs. It's like, they're not street dogs. They're just roaming dogs. That's what the dogs do. They have homes, they're fed. They go home at night and then they go excursioning during the day. They lay around.
And in our area specifically, they're all happy.
They're tranquilo.
And they're all goofy looking dogs too.
Yeah,
They're
it's
all
really
such funny
funny.
mix. The genetic pool here is
It's very funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're fun. We always enjoy seeing all the, and they'll walk into restaurants and stuff and no one bats an eye. We always have dogs in church and whatever. So, we've acquired quite a few animals since being here. We have a giant tortoise. We now have 4 dogs, tons of cats. Well, that's an exaggeration, but
we have 6 cats.
We had a pregnant cat show up, and so that
we have one indoor cat and 5 outdoor cats.
Yeah, who they just kind of run the property.
And then 3 neighbor cats
who are in and out.
And then 2 donkeys.
And the chickens.
And 60 chickens.
Yeah.
So we've got
a
a menagerie.
Yeah. So, all right. So the next 4 years, we talked about college. I'm really curious about that one. Like that's again just a brand new thing. Okay, we will address rentals in just a sec. We're going to have to do a lot of asking around. I mean, the teachers will guide us too. Obviously, the high school teachers are very involved in helping the kids get, prepared for college and applications and all that done. But anyway, it's assumed knowledge though. That's one thing we've really encountered here is assumed knowledge because we are the only foreign family at our school. And they kind of forget that like, we do not have this like decades of history with this educational system. Like our first year, everything, I think Nacho's chewing on a lid or something.
Yeah, it's very loud. Yeah.
And so like we had no basis. Everything was a question. Everything people took for granted, like knowledge wise, but now less and less. And so college will be a new thing to sort out. And I'm excited about that. That'll be fun. Let's talk about rentals and then go on to
rentals. Facebook here rules the day. Facebook Marketplace and Facebook groups are where you acquire most things. There are also plenty of
real estate agents who will help you
and companies.
And the practice is that, if a real estate agent, if you end up finding a rental, the person renting the house pays like a finder's fee to the real estate agent. And everyone's happy. So
start looking at Facebook groups in the city that you're interested
city specific.
Because there'll be, and depending on what city it is, there could be a lot of
expat get groups. A referral from other expats to a local, that they used and trust to help narrow down rentals for you. Is what we ended up doing. And we ended up securing our rental in advance. We paid a month or 2 ahead of time. Because we really wanted a landing place and there weren't a lot of rentals available in during COVID, and people weren't moving. And so someone said, just go to a hotel. And it's like, yeah, we got 4 kids, a cat. Like, no, a hotel's not going to cut it. Although now, I mean, having like lived like this, like, I don't know, laid back Latin America for 4 years, maybe we could have done it. But we felt really comfortable having a place lined up. And so questions, what were they?
So thank you to the person who connected us with Eric. Eric did reach out, the other YouTuber.
Oh yeah, I don't think we heard back. But
we haven't gotten together yet. But
that would be great.
But thank you very much for that.
Appreciate that
very much. And then she
grades,
said, what grades
at school?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually a complicated question. We won't get into all of that right now. But the short story is when we enrolled the kids, there's just not that many foreign kids enrolled in LOHA. And it always is a little confusing. But they all went down a grade, or in one case, 2 grades, because they did not speak Spanish and there's no ESL equivalent here. And so now they all speak Spanish and we're like, well, let's just bump them up to their natural grades, if they want to, because some are really happy where they're at. And frankly, we don't really care if they graduate a year like late, like it doesn't matter. They're fine starting their life that way. It turned out to be a huge complicated thing that may or may not happen. We're just sort of rolling with it and we'll see. Our daughter is the one who really wants to bump up because she's anxious to get on with her life. Like, no, a year of childhood, don't lose it. Take advantage of it. But
The school district here it's a bureaucracy, just like most
they've got
bureaucracies.
their
and
like
they've got their
structures,
structure
and
and their systems.
they don't
and
like it when you come in and
we are very confusing to them. And so, and like, because we homeschooled in the United
oh
States,
man,
we don't
boy,
have paperwork.
we don't have they love papers,
Love paperwork.
love papers,
and we
but
don't have paperwork to show their history of homeschooling, right? They or of schooling.
Yes.
Right? They expect to see all of their
So it's
schooling
fun.
records, but
where are your papers? Oh, we don't have them. It's like, just wait to see it.
they
But
just don't know what to
you know,
do,
education is, you know, a right in the Constitution. They can't deny any child, you know, schooling. So here we are. Anyway, right now we have a child, and the grades are different than in the United States, and so they don't match up. But we have a child in 10th grade, 8th grade, 5th grade, and 4th grade. So we have one ending junior high, one starting junior high, and then high school is a 3-year carrera here.
Yeah.
Still don't know that word. And then so we'll see. And it's possible a few of those kids may jump up to the next grade or not. But yeah, it's funny. we feel very tranquilo about it. Like, we don't work out how it's supposed to, and don't, you know, we're not stressed. So the administration is stressed, but that's okay. They can be stressed about it on our behalf. So
very good.
Anyway, the other things that we are kind of finding a church in our church is not in English. And that is intentional on our part, because there are English congregations, but we knew, like, before we moved here, we're like, no, we are immigrating, we are assimilating, and that
language learning.
And so even though English church would have been really comfortable, we sought out a Spanish language church from the get-go. I already spoke Spanish, and, you know, Blake had a little bit, and the kids had basically none, but we're like, well, you know, like, it's a good place to learn. And yeah, we don't regret that one bit. Our church is like our family here. And I don't know, depending on your faith and, you know, situations, but we walked through the doors and just instantly we're like, oh, this is home. This is home for us. You know, the rhythms were familiar. Everything was familiar in a very wonderful, beautiful way.
But in our southern portion of Ecuador is still very traditional, and still, I mean, English is not widely spoken
in general.
Yeah. And so finding well, we kind of have a bilingual church.
Well, there's a few of us who speak English.
There's a few of us who speak English, but not many. But I mean, like the city of Cuenca and stuff, there are definitely
English congregations for just about any religious, you know, practice you were looking for.
Yeah, there's a big Russian Orthodox presence on the coast,
which is interesting.
And Eastern Orthodox too.
Yeah, so I mean, there's something for most people for sure. And we did research ahead of time and had kind of some rough plans in place as far as like what church we thought we would want to attend. We thought maybe we'd end up in the big city, you know, which is an hour away from us, whereas our church is only 40 minutes away. So, but we do now. Our kids attend a youth group in the big city on the Saturdays. So. And also, if the gentleman who's messaging us about churches, feel free to, is our email on that website also?
Yeah.
We can email us and we can get more into depth on this with you, because we do know a lot about this topic. We put a lot of work into finding a church home for us, and happy to talk more about that. And
we'll might as well just branch over to that now. So on the failed live stream, I announced our new website for off of YouTube. So we have our new website at averagefamilyabroad.com.
Easy.
Yeah, that you can go to now.
Just kind of a landing page outside of social media and YouTube. And so there's contact information. There will be a blog, links to videos. We have products, or we will eventually over the years. You know, you may not know, but we have a coffee farm. So we sell coffee. Blake is a knife maker. Like, he makes really cool artisan kitchen and bushcraft knives that we plan on and kind of having a storefront for these things. And I write books. And so those are all things that will be available in the future on the website. And so averagefamilyabroad.com. So feel free, like we do enjoy answering questions and providing some guidance from our experience. So yeah, definitely reach out to us. I don't think YouTube really has like a messaging feature, right?
Not that I'm aware.
We do have an Instagram and Facebook that we're not super active on, although we're trying to be better. And we will see if you message us on there as well. So
Yeah, but there's an email address on the website that you can send us an email, and
Yeah.
we'd love to help out with anything. And so we've done lots of research.
And we've been here 4 years
Been here
now.
4 years
That's a
now.
good long while.
It is.
So-
So in that vein too, right? So looking forward in these next 4
Yeah.
years, we really want to start expanding our coffee.
Yeah, that's one of the things we came up with when we were talking about the next 4 years. It's actually really good coffee. It's been really cool because over the last year, it's become it's gotten quite a following among the Ecuadorian community, like locally, which has been really neat. I mean, it's one thing to sell your coffee to Americans, but like for the coffee growing country to be like, your coffee is fantastic.
Yeah.
Our biggest,
Well, let me
our biggest
explain
fan.
why.
Well, let me talk about
Okay.
our biggest fan.
Sure.
So our biggest fan is, she's in her 80s, and she's the mother of a dear friend of ours who got introduced to our coffee and is like obsessed with it now and does monthly like multi-pound orders. She drinks like, she must drink like 2 pounds a week or something.
Drinks a lot.
And one of her sons tried to send her coffee from his town. He said, no, she replied, no, I only want Annabella's friend's coffee now. I'm like, oh, and so on. Anyway, so it's really good. And Blake will explain more about how it's,
Yeah.
our dogs, our dogs are playing.
Dogs are playing. So Ecuador has amazing coffee, both altitude and just
Shade grown, like the way they grow it.
So many factors of what these coffee snobs in the West look for, right, is here in Ecuador, and we didn't know that before.
And we're not coffee snobs still.
Yeah, we ended up. So we
Yeah.
call ourselves accidental coffee farmers, right? Because we didn't really intend or know that we would be owning so much coffee, and so, but we love coffee. Coffee's fantastic. So the really sad part about that is Ecuadorians traditionally just burn it. Like it is black when it's ground up. And so, but they just mix it with sugar.
And we drink ours without sugar.
Yeah,
So we
and
don't like it
so-
as dark now.
Yeah.
So it's funny because
so
they make fun of us for our process
Well, yeah. So we do a special process where we ferment our coffee
with fruit from our,
with fruit from our property, and while it's still in the coffee cherry, the red coffee cherry before it's pulled out into the bean. And so coffee fermentation is a process that is, pretty popular among the boutique coffee producers and all that. And so we started doing that, and we've come to realize it's an amazing
fantastic
thing.
Like my sister calls it magic coffee because she gets jittery with too much caffeine, and this doesn't make her jittery. And her husband relies on caffeine, and it still, adequately caffeinates him or whatever, so
Sure.
That's kind of fun.
But yeah, so all of our wasted extra steps in their mind to make us really smooth, because that's the thing. The fermentation process really makes the coffee incredibly smooth,
not acidic,
which is really cool. And so
we do want to try to expand that in the next year, next 4 years. Like we have dreams, but not a lot of know-how still on the logistics, right? Because we thought we have 5,000 or however many coffee plants, but everyone here grows coffee. Our neighbors are packed with just gorgeous coffee. And I mean, and all in the region too. Like, how neat would it be able to be able to, buy the fresh cherries at a good price from our neighbors, high quality coffee beans, so organic and shade grown and all that, and then do our process and then export it to wherever. And so we're a little intimidated by that, particularly the exporting and all that just goes into that. But also it feels like a natural, that needs to happen because it's
we have it.
Yeah, we always say what a beautiful thing to offer the world, of all the products, coffee, that's wonderful.
So to the visa comment.
Yes.
So we moved down here. If you watch our 15 things video, we did a lot on getting all of our visa paperwork and everything ready, right? And so we did all of that before we even got here. So we met with visa lawyers and figured out that whole thing before we even got to Ecuador, which we were so glad we did. But yes, we came down on a temporary visa, right, which was a 2-year visa.
And that's the norm, right? I don't think you can't even apply for a permanent visa right until you've had your temporary for so long. Oh goodness. Okay. Hey. Dog chaos. I don't know if you can hear.
Okay.
Oh no. We have a huge black Italian Mastiff, and his name is Axel, and he sounds like a cow. He's kind of bellowing right now in the background, and he's making the other dogs excited, and so he should settle down in a minute. So yes, we did get temporary visas and then
visas.
Yes, we're on the professional visa. It's called. It's a specific visa that we are here under, our whole family. I think it's under Blake, and then we're dependents, the children and I. And then we will, after about a year and a half, we did start the permanent visa process, which went super smoothly. We have a really wonderful visa attorney we can recommend in Loja. We highly recommend going with a visa attorney in the town you'll be moving to, or like the region, because you could be in and out of their office and so on. So
yeah, and so we did that. We got our permanent visas,
and now we're set.
And now we're set.
That leads into our last thing that the next 4 years may bring, and that's the question of citizenship. And we honestly don't know. We don't know. Do we know any expats, immigrants who have gotten Ecuadorian citizenship? I'm sure there are some.
I don't know,
but I can't think of any.
The only ones I know of are the kids were born here, so they're
true. Yeah, we know plenty of people who have had children here who are citizens, and it's not because like it's a bad thing. It's just not necessarily like a beneficial thing.
You can be dual citizens here.
You can, and so we need to. Pam just, she knows someone. We'll have to speak to that person as we get closer to that 5-year mark. I'm curious mostly, like, are there benefits? And as the world's changing, like, yeah, there might be. Like, does it hurt to have an extra passport? No, even if it isn't a very like valuable passport, that might be worth looking into. I think it's complicated. I'd be shocked if it's not.
I think the differences between having a permanent residency and passport is, one, they can't take away if you're a resident. They can take your visa away, right?
Yeah, you could do something to get it
revoked. But if you have a passport, you can't. But then if you have a passport, you have to vote.
Yeah,
it's mandatory to vote.
That's not that big of a deal. Everyone votes.
And I don't think I could be drafted into the military necessarily.
The children, but they could also be drafted in the United States, and if they had a different citizenship. So it's complicated.
It's interesting.
And also there might be benefits for the kids. Like our daughter is interested in diplomacy as a career, and like maybe it would behoove her to be a citizen of this country if she wants to, and she wants to work in the diplomatic corps on behalf of Ecuador. Thanks, Pam. And so. Maybe being a citizen as opposed to just a permanent resident is a good thing. And then, I mean, you're a citizen, like for our perspective right now, as non-citizens, I don't know, you're not as invested in the political system. You kind of have this detached view of it. Whereas, if you're a citizen and you're voting and you're like invested that way, then you truly like will do everything you can for the future of this country. So I don't know, that's the third and final. So we're going to dive into university, growing the coffee, and looking into at least citizenship, whether we end up pursuing it or not. Last I heard, it was a really hard test. So language-wise, thankfully, we're okay. But as we're learning and helping our kids with their homework, like we don't know Ecuadorian history well enough. We don't know the presidents. We don't know the national anthem. The kids do. They're learning all this. So maybe they'll become citizens and we won't. I don't know. But we're like, I don't know who your segundo presidente was. I don't remember. So we would have to study a lot. But yeah, it's more for the kids' sake. Like, is that a beneficial thing for them and their futures? Maybe. So just keep an eye on things and see. It'll be fun. I'm excited to see, there's other. Okay, here's the thing. Our children could start dating. That's a thing. And that's dating culture is different here than in the United States. I don't really know what dating culture is like in the United States right now, actually. It's been a long time.
It's not great. I know that.
Well, maybe, I'm sure it is fine for some people.
Here in the Campo, it's still relatively young.
In the countryside, this is different compared to the cities. But all of our daughter's classmates are about to turn 15, or they have turned 15. And that's like, you're a young woman at that age. We had, our daughter's quinceañera, for example. And that's when like parents are like, okay, date, think, plan that way. And there's not so much pressure now to like marry young as there was in the past. People aren't having, oodles of children like they did in the past. But that's going to be.
But they still start way younger here still.
And that's not necessarily something we're opposed to if the kids find the right person. We married pretty young, but it's definitely not like our expectation either. And so, and I don't know how they do it here. I don't know what I need to watch out for and how we need to advise the children and like what's the norm, what's safe. And so, yeah, that's
Well,
another.
it's
Or maybe they just won't date in
well,
4
yeah,
years. So.
exactly. I always say 27, she can start dating the boyfriend I pick for her.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
But no, it'd be the same as back in the U.S.
I
though, in so
guess.
many ways. I mean, we'd still have pretty much the same criteria and everything.
Yeah, and same sorts of conversation. But I am
Yeah.
curious still, so it's something
Right.
to learn about. But
Do you want to switch now to the things we miss?
yeah, and we'll wrap this up quickly. We so appreciate all of you who have joined in on this, but we'll just keep rambling on for another 10 minutes or so. So if you have final questions on the video, certainly ask them, or again reach out through our social media or our website, averagefamilyabroad.com. But we did take a few notes here, so let's see. What are some things we miss from the United States? The kids, like, it's all food, right? So American peanut butter is like tops the list for the children, which is hilarious. Like a good old thing of Jif. Jif?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jif or Skippy.
Yeah, I always want to say Jiffy, but Jif or Skippy. And you can find it here, and it's like $20 for a little container, so we never buy it. What we do is they have the like all natural peanut butter here. That's like literally just peanuts right in the ingredients. And we try to Americanize it a little bit. Like we add, I blend it up with some oil and salt and maybe a little brown sugar, which is funny. I'm like, make it less natural. But anyway, the kids always joke that they miss that. Maple syrup. So this is the land that everything grows, right? Everything grows here. It's amazing. Things you've never heard of grow here. But maple syrup does not grow here because it does not freeze here. And I love maple syrup. And we have some recipes for other syrups. So we make a cinnamon syrup for waffles or pancakes. And it's good. And cinnamon does grow here, but it's not the same. And you can buy syrup here. It's just expensive. And so I think it's been a year. I don't think I've tasted syrup for a year.
Really? That long?
Oh, yes.
We always, when my dad specifically comes down to visit, he brings an extra suitcase, and usually it's full of things like that.
Maple syrup and peanut butter and American candy, which always cracks us up because they have plenty of candy here. And he always brings red vines, red vine licorice. Baba does for the children, and that's always a really fun one to introduce to Ecuadorian friends because I guess if you don't grow up eating red vines, like red vines are quite startling. Like, what is this candy? And so, yes, you're right. That brand of peanut butter has been recommended to us. I don't think we've ever ordered from them, but we need to one day. Yeah. Anyway, red vines, the consensus was it was like eating a sweet candle. So, which is not wrong if you think about it, but
yeah. I've grown to really dislike American candy now. I just think it's gross.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
But it's partly just growing up.
Yeah, well, sure.
We're not children.
And I think
the kids like it.
It all tastes different than it used to.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Other things we miss, honestly, like quick food delivery. And this is in the cities, you can do that. Like if we lived in Loja itself, we could totally have like food brought to us, but we live up a mountain in the countryside and no one brings us food. And that's not totally true. We could go through call a restaurant, place an order and pay a taxi driver. And an hour later we'd get it, but we don't that's not worth it.
Yeah. And
there's no DoorDash where we live.
Yeah. Because we chose to put ourselves away from everything
in the up the mountain.
Yeah. Those convenience things aren't there. And so I'm a horrible cook. And if Brittany's sick and I need to prepare things for the kids, I better be.
The kids are learning, thankfully. They're much better and much more adept than you.
Way better than I am.
We have one child who his go-to quick meal for himself is poaching himself some eggs and tomato sauce, which is really funny. He's like, I'll just go poach some eggs. He's our future chef. But so kind of miss that. There's no drive-throughs here. You can't just drive through McDonald's. And every once in a while, we're the food quality here is super good, really high quality. But every once in a while, you just want to drive through Taco Bell and just don't. Maybe in Quito or somewhere, but not here. Did we miss any questions? There was one on coffee. How much?
Oh, 5,000.
I don't know.
We have a lot more than 5,000 plants.
Do we? Okay.
But I'd say at our current, we had a really weird year this year.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard to tell because of the drought messed everything up.
And yeah,
a couple hundred pounds at least, 500 pounds.
No, yeah, we probably get somewhere between 500 to 900 pounds of coffee from what we currently have.
And this next year's it's in bloom right now. All the coffee plants are blossoming, and I wish you could smell like coffee plants smell incredible when like the coffee flowers do. So it just smells amazing outside right now because all the coffee, there's
There's
Nacho,
Nacho.
all the coffee is,
There you go, Nacho.
hi Nacho, is blooming. And so, yeah, hundreds of pounds. And we also do very little right now to like maximize that. We don't, I don't know, we should do more. It's kind of the permaculture style, but we could fertilize and prune and like maximize. And that's, I guess, part of what we would do to increase production and just increase, the spread of the coffee. We're looking at exporting that maybe other countries and how do we do that and so on. It's pretty cool though. Like if I had to pick something to grow, and we grow like lots of things here, and the coffee plants are just sort of tucked into the orchard.
Yeah, they're
Like,
you plant them underneath the other fruit trees because they grow into the shade. And
we have citrus all year round, but it's like mega citrus season right now. So we have so many oranges, just like drowning in oranges. And we have one tree that only does fruit once a year. Most fruit here is kind of continual. But we have one enormous mandarin tree that makes like the most delicious mandarins. It makes it. And it's just now. This is late again because of the drought. In the past, it's been kind of mid-August. They'll be like ripe and perfect, but we're towards the end of September now, and it's just now. So I'm really excited for the mandarins, but. Ooh. And the coffee is flowering again. Sometimes we get 3 harvests a year. This past year was only 2, and they were weaker because of the climate situation.
Sweet lemons, yeah. We have amazing sweet lemons.
Oh my goodness, the sweet lemons, yes, or sweet limes, however you.
Yeah, we're so confused. So 90% of the time.
Yes, about the citrus, but that's a whole nother deal. We do have a couple sweet lime drinks. They're like nothing you've ever had. I mean, they're like taste like a lime or a lemon, and they're not sour, and I love them so much.
Elevation wise.
And Pam, I agree. A friend gave us some Shout, and I have to literally scrub the kids' school uniforms in order to keep them pristine. And I was using some of the last of the Shout today. In fact, I added some to our Amazon cart, which is where I keep track of things that I think I might want brought down from the United States for uniform cleaning purposes. Because that's no joke. Our kids have 3 different uniforms, like 3 different uniforms, and there is not one day,
4 kids,
and not one day they all wear the same uniform. So I have like a schedule, like a chart on the whiteboard and stuff. So. For coffee.
Yeah. And we do. We've got 60 chickens in the orchard.
And don't use any chemicals.
No, we don't use any chemicals at all.
That's pretty common. What was the other question? Elevation. We're about like 6,500 feet or so where we are, but it varies so much. Like the bottom of our property is maybe 6,000 feet, and then up top 6,500. Loja is like 7,000. Somewhere like Vilcabamba, Malacato, somewhere 5,000, 5,500. Cuenca's 8,000. Everything is up and down here. So, and it changes very fast because they're always going up or down.
Plays a huge.
What was that other question? Something about school?
Yeah, bilingual schools.
There are in Cuenca there is one in Vilcabamba. It's like a Montessori school. I don't know too much about it. I don't know how high it goes grade wise either. The larger cities, I don't know of any in Loja, but correct me if I'm wrong. We didn't really look because that's too far to send our kids to school. Quito, I'm certain, must have an international school at least. Cuenca may have some bilingual school.
But there is, in the public school system, there is no ESL.
There's no ESL. It is sink or swim. Thankfully, everyone is so patient. The teachers are so patient, even though we were so baffling to them. They were like, we had a foreigner once. That was 20 years ago. Like, he's a compatriot of ours, age-wise. It's really funny. And the other moms helped us so much through our bafflement, because it's not, and it makes us so sympathetic towards immigrants in the United States, for instance. I'm looking back, and it's not like I was ever, I wasn't mean, of course, but I never went out of my way to really be welcoming and kind. And I wish I had now and I'm thinking about the families of the international students at my high school and how they must have been so lost, even though there was an ESL program, and everything must have been so weird and different.
Yeah, because now we have Google Translate. And
that would help. But but no, we don't regret for an instant though. Our kids were such troopers. They did such a great job, and now they've always come home happy. And now like they are just smooth sailing, and we're so grateful for
Yeah.
that. And
Their only complaints that we ever hear are the typical
oh,
complaints.
it's Monday morning. I don't want to get
like,
up
it's
for
always
school.
it's the
Or,
same stuff
oh, I
that
have
we complain
homework.
about.
Yeah, it's not, the kids that are not bullies. And I mean, yes, there are kids who are mean, but not like there are in the United States. They will say here, Ecuadorians will say like, oh, there are bullies, there's a problem. And I don't want to like, I don't know, trivialize their experience, of course, but and I don't want to make it sound quaint, because being mean is never quaint, but like it's like old fashioned bullying. I mean, if there's any, I've even heard of instances like that at our school. And granted, yeah, kids have phones, and like I think our daughter complained once, oh, they're taking dumb pictures of me to put on their WhatsApp stickers or something. So there's, of course, there's stuff, but there's just a general goodwill that permeates like every aspect of society here, including children. You walk down to the school, every child you pass, including the teenagers and the little toddlers, will give you a cheerful, buenos dias. They're all, it's just part of who they are as a people. Is very engaging, very polite, and we find that really, really wonderful and refreshing. And our kids they have so many friends. People are so kind and include them. We have friends. School has been huge. Like, we don't regret it at all as far as getting to know the culture. There is nothing like sitting in a parent meeting at school to figure out what the priorities of the Ecuadorian people are, their hopes for the future, their fears, on behalf of their children, what they fight for, what they care about and are passionate about. You will find out at the school meetings, all of that. So, yeah, that's been
that's what cemented us in this
community. In our little community. Maybe in the cities, because people are more come and go-y, but in our little village, like, it matters so much. And of course, that wouldn't matter if our kids weren't getting a good education. Like, that would be very selfish of us to be like, no, you must go to school so that we are part of the community. But they are getting a good education, perfectly adequate. They don't have a lot of extras at the school. There's not like, I don't know, coding classes or whatever. Okay, someone said Guayaquil. There are bilingual. Makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Or there's not, I don't know, whatever the electives and stuff. It's basics, but we find the basics kind of refreshing at this point. And
yeah, and I mean, I think personally that education is going to be just overturned on its head.
Thanks to AI stuff.
Yeah, in the next number of years.
I mean, honestly, the most important things to us are that our kids come home like talking. They come home, they talk nonstop, all of them, all four of them. I mean, it's like overwhelming. Like, oh my goodness, like, turn off the fire hydrant every day. Yes. Blake picks the kids up at school. Yeah, which is, and like, what a blessing that they do that, because I know that's not like always the case. I know kids are not always, they don't always have things to say, and they're not positive things, and they almost always, it was a good day, and they're happy and they have stories, and that is like the most important thing. So grateful for that. And they're learning, they're doing the things, they're, I don't know, conjugating verbs and solving the maths and like, and memorize. I'm always surprised. And it's really funny because there are certain things, especially with the older kids, that they can talk about in Spanish that they can't talk about in English. I'm thinking about science specifically. Like, they can tell you about a cell in Spanish. They don't know that. And so yeah, if they did go to college in the US, there would be some gaps, just like with any international student. So it's kind of funny, like those things, like, like, and there's funny things that make us laugh about how different their school experience is than ours. Like our child cheerfully coming home and he has a stain on his uniform. It's like, what happened? He's like, oh, I spilled my ceviche. Like, that's what they served in the snack bar at our tiny little rural school. Oh, they had ceviche, and I'm like 9-year-old, he's like totally normal to go get that. It's like, I didn't eat ceviche when I was 9 at any context. So it's just funny that that's normal. And the things we send for school, we have to send a snack every day. And our kids are like, can you just send something normal, like Ecuadorian, instead of like a peanut butter sandwich? And that makes me laugh kind of too, because again, I'm thinking about the immigrant experience across the world. Like, it's like, it's a peanut butter sandwich. I don't know how to do Ecuadorian lunches. I'm sorry.
They don't do a lot of sandwiches here.
No, they don't. And so sometimes the kids really like bringing their, exotic foreign, more American things like that. But sometimes they do just wish for bolognese or whatever their salchipapas, whatever their classmates are eating. So we try to be really, sensitive to their experience. It's complex, right? I mean, we can't relate to that as adults, of course, as being immigrant children and the complexities there. in some ways they're the older one, and especially is kind of torn between the two cultures less. Like she's all in here. She's just thriving and happy and, you know, dreaming an Ecuadorian future. But at the same time, she has more ties to the United States. Our little guy moved here when he was 6, and he is full on Ecuadorian. He is a curly, blonde-headed, blue-eyed Ecuadorian child. Even when he speaks English now, he's got an Ecuadorian Spanish cadence. And like his filler words, like are Ecuadorian, you know, Spanish filler words. And what was it? He was, yeah, he complains about reading in English and writing in English. And it's really fun seeing the difference between the older child and the younger child and their experiences. I think it's fascinating. You know, obviously we want the best for our kids, and we're trying our best, and we're super proud of them. And so much of like the good that we've had here is just because of the people around us are just the best people on the planet, who have really come around us and loved us and taught us and been patient with us and laugh with us. So, I mean, and that you do not have to speak Spanish to have that experience. Just don't hold yourself back. Like, be willing to be embarrassed, be willing to show up at events when you have no idea what's going on. It won't be as complicated as school, I guarantee it. So show up at the town bingos. They love bingo here. Show up at the dances and the, you know, it just showing up is so honoring to the community when we're just show, and, you know, not in like an elitist or like condescending way, but like, hey, we're just here. This is our town. And yeah, it means a lot.
Yep.
Anything else? You got anything else?
We could talk for hours. I'm sure,
yeah,
so.
we like talking. We like Ecuador. So
there you go. All right.
I'm sorry if we did miss your question. We did try to address everything. Like, feel free, like, comment on. I don't know if we have access to these comments anymore. Do we?
And people will be able to comment on
this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we'll try to see this or a different video. Blake checks those, I think, one of our social medias or averagefamily.com. We have an email. Happy to answer questions. Really appreciate that you came. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah, thank you for sticking through all of our challenges this
my goodness,
trying to get started.
Yeah, really glad that it worked out. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. Thank you for your kind words. And we'll maybe a couple months from now we'll try this again if we're brave. So
we can do it again.
Yeah,
sure.
We'll think of some more topics.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Anyway, yes, thank you. All of you have just a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining our little celebration, commemoration of 4 years. So
all right.
Good.
Very good. All right. We'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you so much.
We'll see if we can end it now.
Yeah. Can we end it?
It wouldn't start. Will it end?
Can we stop the stream? Will that happen? Yes or no?